What's up guys, it's Nick from Fit Futures here with yet another answer to yet another question. Today's question comes from Mike in Auckland. Nick, how can we best use our time? Well Mike, there's a little bit to unpack here. I'm going to go ahead and assume that you mean time from the perspective of a student, in which case how best to use your time while you are studying. However, I'll also touch on how best to utilize our clients' time when they're in the gym. But firstly, I'm going to tell you what time means to me. To me, time can be expended. Obviously, life is made up of time. Basically, life is a great sheet of time. Time can be both spent and time can be wasted. To spend time means that we are doing so in a thoughtful manner. Time has purpose. We are achieving things within said time, within whatever context that happens to be. Relaxing in front of the couch, watching Netflix can still be time spent, okay? Time wasted, that is carelessly expending time. But that can also be people wasting your time, or you wasting your time through endeavors that don't necessarily bring you joy in your life, or endeavors that don't necessarily bring meaning to your life. Okay, so now that we've kind of differentiated between the two, we'll put that into context for you with respect to your studies. You would be wasting time if you were procrastinating and you were not getting around to completing your studies, whether that be your readings, whether that be working on various assessments or prepping for or completing a quiz. Maybe you're procrastinating because you don't quite know how to do something as well. That is when you would involve us as your tutors. You would come to us with your questions and we would help you spend your time wisely, if that makes sense. Of course, wasting time can also be knowing that you have something that you need to complete, such as your work experience, such as going to work, such as completing this particular qualification, but then just not getting around to it because you keep putting it off, because you are prioritizing things that, in the grand scheme of things, don't quite matter and won't help you to spend the time that you need to in order to achieve what you're setting out to achieve. So, what do? You need to spend your time wisely. How do we do that? By making concerted efforts to do you. I'll give you an example. An old student of mine was a pillar of her community. She put all her resources, all her valuable time into the community. But it got to the point that so many different people wanted to be working closely with her on a whole range of different projects, and not all of them were pertinent to her. What that meant was that she was wasting a lot of time on other people and on other projects that weren't necessarily going to result in an outcome that was favorable to her. Ultimately, she didn't complete the course. She ran out of time. So unfortunately for her, she was wasting a lot of time on other endeavors and not spending time wisely in pursuit of her goals. Sometimes, guys, we need to be a little bit selfish in that respect. So make sure that we're setting aside time for ourselves, especially in regards to our studies, and also know that it's about the quality of time as well, not necessarily the quantity. You might set aside 10 hours of study time a week, but make sure that it's not necessarily 10 hours from start to finish. It can be broken up throughout the week so that you are fresh each and every time you sit down to your studies. Now, the second point to answering Mike's question is referring to how best we can utilize our clients' time. My point to you guys this morning is make sure that our clients are spending time in the gym as opposed to wasting time in the gym. They will come to you and they will pay for a service, and that service that they're paying for, they expect results from. With respects to training, their goal, for example, might be how to lose weight, but maybe your background's predominantly sports performance. An easy habit to fall into is programming for yourself and then giving that program to your client. The sports performance stuff is great, absolutely tremendous as a standalone set of training variables, but does it necessarily correspond with the purposes of training for our client in pursuit of their very own goals? Make sure that everything remains client-centered and make sure that they're not wasting their time. The last point I'll touch on with regards to that is ensuring that our clients are performing things in a timely manner in the gym as well. Now, there is tons of ways that we can set that up, but some people are so time pressed that they only have half an hour or maybe even 45 minutes to train. We'd be wasting their time if we set up things that they weren't going to be able to accomplish in that time period. So we need to not only make sure that it's client-centered with respects to goals, but make sure as well that they can safely and comfortably complete the activities you prescribe in the time that they have to train. Hopefully that answers your question, Mike. I know it was a little bit long-winded, but there you are. If you have any more questions, please feel free to get in touch with us. Likewise, to the audience out there, if you have any questions, feel free to let us know. Otherwise, be sure to keep an eye out for more videos in the future by clicking the link wherever you can find it on the page. Until next time, guys.